Should you renovate your home so it works better for the years ahead? Or would that money be better spent making a move? You know, that sounds like a financial question, doesn't it? But after helping homeowners across the Denver suburbs for more than 25 years, I've noticed something that surprises most people. Yeah, adding a main floor bedroom, widening doorways, or installing a stair lift, or even creating a more accessible bathroom, those can absolutely help you stay in the home that you love. But sometimes homeowners spend a lot of money fixing the house when the real problem was never inside the house at all. And a lot of people don't figure out which one they had until after they've already spent the money solving the wrong problem. So before you call a contractor or put a sign in the yard, there's a few questions I think every homeowner around Denver should ask first. And this reminded me of one comment recently while meeting with a couple here in Littleton. They live in a beautiful home on 2.5 acres. The house is spacious, well cared for, and you know, it's even designed in a way that could support more than one generation. Now, that sounds like a home that should work for many years. But during our conversation, the wife mentioned that caring for the property is becoming harder for her and her husband. And a comment like that can change the question completely. So what's the problem you're really trying to solve? Because before deciding whether to renovate or move, I think you have to ask yourself, what is no longer working? Is it the house itself? Maybe the bedrooms are all upstairs. The bathroom is difficult to use safely. The doorways are too narrow. Or there's just no practical way to live on one level. Those may be problems a renovation can genuinely solve. A stair lift may make the upper level easy to reach. A bathroom renovation may make daily life safer. A main floor bedroom addition could allow someone to stay in a home that they love for many years. But what if the real problem is not inside the house? What if it's the 2.5 acres that still need attention? A long driveway that needs snow removal? Trees or fencing or irrigation or exterior repairs or landscaping that one person has quietly been handling for years but now might just be too much? You can renovate a bathroom. You can add a bedroom, but you cannot renovate away every responsibility that comes with a large property. And that's why I think homeowners sometimes start with the wrong question. Instead of asking, what should we change about the house? Ask yourself, what is making my life harder, and would a renovation actually solve it? Because if the renovation solves the real problem, it may be one of the smartest investments you can make. But if it doesn't, you're left with the harder question. And that's one that most people don't think to ask until they're already knee-deep in a renovation project. Because even if a renovation fixes what's happening inside the house today, there's a second question worth asking. Will this home and property still make sense 5, 10, or even 15 years from now? I think of a couple I'll call Rick and Ellen. They were looking at a stair lift, wider doorways, and maybe converting a main floor den into a bedroom. The kind of changes that can genuinely make a home work for a lot longer. And for a lot of homeowners, that's exactly the right move. A stair lift can make the upstairs accessible again. A main floor bedroom can mean staying in the home you love for another decade or even more. Those are real, lasting solutions when the house itself is the problem. But here's what I want you to notice. Rick and Ellen weren't just thinking about the stairs. They were also thinking about the driveway, because somebody still has to clear it every time it snows. The sprinkler system that needs to be blown out every fall. The hail damage that seems to find every roof in the Denver suburbs eventually. The trees that drop branches after every windstorm. Now, none of that goes away with a renovation. You can put in a stair lift, you can widen the doorways in the house, but you can't renovate your way out of a Colorado winter. So before you invest in changing the house, it's worth asking, is this renovation solving the whole problem, or just the part that happens to be indoors? So if a renovation might only solve half the problem, how do you actually figure out which half you're dealing with? Here's what I tell homeowners when they're trying to sort this out. Start by asking yourself, is the problem staying the same, or is it growing? A stair lift solves a fixed problem. Once it's installed, the stairs aren't getting any harder to climb. That part is done. But a large yard, a long driveway, an aging roof, those don't stay fixed. They tend to ask more of you every single year. More upkeep, more repairs, more to manage. So if what you're dealing with is the second kind, something that keeps growing, that's a signal a renovation alone won't resolve it, because you'd be trying to fix a moving target. Then ask yourself, who's actually doing the work right now? Is it you or your spouse handling the yard, the snow, the repairs, and it's starting to feel harder than it used to? Pay attention to that. It doesn't matter how updated your kitchen is or how much you love the house. If the physical work is falling on you and it's getting harder to do, that's so worth paying attention to. And then there's a question I think that matters most. If the yard or the driveway or your location disappeared tomorrow, would you still need that renovation? Sometimes the answer is yes, because if climbing the stairs is genuinely a physical struggle, well, that's true no matter where you live, right? Move to a different 2-story home and you'd be facing the same exact stairs. So choosing a home with either a main floor primary bedroom would still help you Or that stair lift, regardless of the house or regardless of the location. That's a real physical need, not something the property is causing. But sometimes the answer is no, and if it's no, that tells you something important. It means the renovation wasn't really solving a problem with you or the house. It was covering for the yard, the driveway, or even the property location itself. I think of Linda and Bill. Once they moved through these 3 questions honestly, they realized the house was never the issue. It was Bill, quietly managing a property that had outgrown what one person could keep up with. And that's a very different conversation than, should we add a stair lift? So I'm curious. As you walk through those 3 questions, which one are you sitting with right now? Is it the house itself, or is it everything around it? Drop a comment down below and let me know. I read every single one of them. But even once you know which problem you're actually facing, there's still one more question left. And honestly, it might be the one that people skip entirely, because knowing what's wrong isn't the same as knowing what it's actually going to take to fix it. So let's say you've sorted which problem you're actually facing. There's one more question worth asking before you decide anything, and that is this. What will staying actually cost you? Not just financially, but physically. Because staying just doesn't mean the mortgage or the renovation bill. It means the roof, eventually. The HVAC systems, eventually. The fencing, the yard work, the housekeeping, the snow removal, all of it. It keeps going year after year. And there's something worth saying clearly. Hiring help for some of that may be exactly the right answer. Plenty of homeowners stay in their home that they love, bringing in a landscaper or a seasonal help or even a handyman. But that has to be part of the math. Because if the plan is, well, we'll just hire it out, that's not free. And it's worth knowing what it actually costs before you commit to staying. The same way you'd want to know, what is a renovation going to cost you before signing off on it? So the real question isn't just, what does the renovation cost? It's, what does staying cost in dollars and in energy once it's added all up? Which brings us right back to where we started. The answer isn't to automatically renovate or automatically move. The right answer is whichever one actually solves the real problem and still supports the life you want in your next chapter. And if you're still sorting through the questions to ask yourself which ones are important to you, I put together a free short guide to help. It's called the What's Next Guide. It walks you through the same kind of questions we just talked about. What's actually working, what isn't, and what you'd gain or give up either way. Now, it's not about giving you an answer. It's about a place to get it out of your head and onto paper. I'll leave the link below in case you want it. Hi, if we haven't met, my name is Peggy Dursthoff with Live Denver Suburbs, powered by HomeSmart. And I help homeowners make smart real estate decisions without pressure and without regret. And if you're still working through when the right time to make a move might be, I made a video on exactly that. It's called The Best Time to Move Isn't What You Think. Watch it next, and I'll see you there.